Let's see. Okay, I think we're rolling. On to you, Mike.
All righty. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Hey, I'm not in my office, this very blank space back here. I'm perching in the housing office, doing some interviews today. So don't think that that's my everyday situation here. So let us go ahead and get started. So again, my name is Mike Stoll. I'm a senior academic advisor in the Kirchhoff College of Nursing. I'm going to talk to you today about our second bachelor's degree nursing program, and then also touch at the very end on our two graduate programs. We have a Master's of Science in Nursing and a Doctorate of Nursing Practice. And feel free to ask any questions that you might have along the way. So one thing just to start out to know, obviously we're an accredited program. Nurses take the NCLEX exam, and I don't know how familiar you all are or if you work with nurses at all. But the NCLEX is the exam that they would take after graduation. We are lucky and proud to say that we are historically above the state and national average, typically that mid to upper 90% first-time pass rate, which is wonderful. We are located right next to Mr. Mike Saldana on the health campus downtown Grand Rapids, Michigan, which is down the street from two of our major health systems in Grand Rapids, one being Spectrum Health. If you're on the east side, you might have heard Spectrum Health and Beaumont Health have merged or in the process of merging into some super system. So we're fortunate to have them as a partner. Talk a little bit more about a partnership we have with them in a minute. We have Mercy Health that we use, Mercy Health St. Mary's, which is just a mile south of our campus, and then University of Michigan West are our three main providers. But you can see there, right? We use tons of different places as well, send students out to the Holland, Zeeland, Muskegon area. We have the Helen DeVos Children's Hospital as well, part of Spectrum Health. So some state-of-the-art buildings and facilities for clinicals. For second degree, all the classes are going to be on the medical mile there in the downtown Grand Rapids area. Our traditional students are usually out here in Allendale for the first couple of years. So the program is 15 months, which is really nice. So if you're working with students, who are finishing up their bachelor's and want to do the nursing program here, we'll get into the prerequisites shortly. It's what is the saying that some students say? Long days, short year, right? So it's only 15 months. We have a lot of exciting changes, and I'll get to that in a second, but we are moving to having now 3 application cycles. So right now it looks like just a January and an August, but we are going to start doing year-round applications. So there'll always be a time that students can apply, and you're always applying 1 semester ahead of time. So for instance, that January application, we applied January 1 through 15 for a May start. And we're actually going to move that second one down into a May application for August, and then thirdly, August application for a January start. So we will have cohorts running year round, which is quite exciting. This is, we're advisors, so we love to see academic plans. So here you go, briefly, not going to go in depth, but just to sort of give you an idea of the credit load each semester. So it's, hovering between that full-time 12 to 15 credits, a combination of in-class theoretical foundations or theory course, we call it, clinical in every semester, starting in semester 1. And then we have what's called lab and simulation that sort of goes throughout. So the first 2 semesters are in a med-surg rotation, working with adults, older adults. Third semester, labor and delivery, pediatrics, and psych mental health. And then 4th semester into their clinical immersion, where they're working one-on-one with a nurse. So I just touched on that as well, but just again to show you the breakdown of the various areas that we send students off to for clinical. Again, for the BSN, just like any program in the US, it's a very generalist curriculum, right? There's no way to specialize, which is similar to the other health programs that you're probably learning about today. Our clinical immersion is really nice. It's 160 hours, which tends to be a little bit higher than most. And that's a one-on-one precepted experience with a nurse working in the field. So our students really appreciate that. And that can be in high acuity areas like the ICU, the pediatric ICU, the NICU, that sort of thing. So that's pretty exciting. I put it in yellow. Here we go. We are in the process. I mentioned Spectrum Health earlier. We have developed a partnership called the Spectrum Health Scholars Program. So I can't say this, understate this enough. If you have students interested in nursing, yeah, point them our way, please. There's probably never been a better time to apply to nursing school, just given the numbers. This is my 8th year. And at times, we had more than double the amount of applicants for second degree as the number of seats available. To give you some historical context, about 5 years ago, we only admitted 40 students per year. You can see right there, we're up to 118 per year. So we went from 40 to 48. We're in 72 this year. And then with Spectrum Health, as I mentioned, they are giving us $19 million, not a small sum of money, to help graduate more nurses, 500 more nurses over the next 5 to 6 years, in order to help with the workforce shortage. So part of that program includes a $10,000 per year scholarship, so a total of $20,000 that they would be given. 24 students are selected out of those 56 each semester. And then the deal is there that they would be working at Spectrum Health for at least 2 years upon graduation. So they get $20,000 and a guaranteed job. How cool is that? So we are, for the first time ever, sort of like actively recruiting students for this program. We actually had to extend the deadline this past fall because we've been increasing the number of students so much. The demand quite hasn't caught up. So anyway, you can see there, long story short, we have lots of students being admitted moving forward. Students would have a very good chance of admission at this current point in time based on those requirements there at the bottom of the slide. So they do need to have their bachelor's degree complete before they start. Oftentimes we're working with students both at Grand Valley and at other institutions, surprisingly, who are finishing up their degree while they're applying. And as long as it's done before they start our program, that's okay. They're still eligible. We do have an overall GPA requirement of 3.0 or above, and that's going to include any and all courses taken after high school, community college, universities. We're going to just lump it all together for an overall GPA. The one that matters more so is the admission prerequisite GPA, and there's 6 identified courses on the next slide that we look at, and those have to be a 3.0 or higher. In addition, those courses also need to be completed with a grade of C or higher, right? So not a C minus, and then just that 3.0. And then we do allow students to repeat up to 3 of those 6 courses, 2 of which can be a science as part of the policy as well. So that's sort of the admissions criteria. I guess we'll get to the prereqs in one more slide. Sorry, I didn't have it quite memorized here, working off the laptop, but these are the 4 parts of our admission process, the 4 components we call it. We utilize, I don't know if you all are familiar or not, a holistic admissions process. In 2018, we sort of rolled this out. We used to be very, very GPA focused, and now we use these 4 components that are equally weighted at 25%. So wildly, GPA is only worth 25% of our process. And there's those 6 courses. We'll get to that in just a moment. The second and the last part of the process is an interview, 15 minutes, 5 questions with a faculty member and a community partner. We have a personal statement, fancy word for an essay, 650 words or 2-page essay about why students want to be a nurse and admitted to the College of Nursing at Grand Valley. And then 4th is this thing called the student profile, sort of a resume template. We found that looking at 100 unique resumes is a little bit tricky to parse out and give a score. So we have created a template that has students talk about their experiences, the skills they've gained, and the impact that it's had on them. So those are the 4 components. Again, really, really important to know each one of those 4 are worth 25%. Here's the 6 prerequisite courses. There are some, we like to joke, prereqs to the prereqs. So like a general biology, intro chemistry, intro psych would be the 3 needed to take some of these courses, at least at Grand Valley. But we require anatomy and phys part 1 and 2, microbiology, just the lecture, not the lab for second degree, human genetics, one course of organic and biochemistry. Some of your students might be taking separate organic and biochem. We'll combine those together for a grade. Similarly with the anatomy and physiology sequence, if we have students taking separate anatomy, separate physiology, as long as they take lecture and lab, generally that's going to work out, although it's a little bit messy now here with some changes to the physiology lab at Grand Valley, but maybe we can get to that in the questions. And then, so once students have those 6 courses completed, they can apply to our program. There are 3 additional co-requisite courses there at the bottom: clinical nutrition, basic pathophysiology, and statistics, that need to be complete before they start the program. So if you have students that are applying and then just need to complete those, and we will take equivalent courses obviously as well. I cannot see the chat, so Mike, you'll have to just like shout at me if you see something. Sorry about that. Yeah, just to know, we're very fortunate to be where we are on the somewhat newer health campus, Grand Valley. I'm here right now in Allendale, which is 20 minutes from downtown, but we've got just state-of-the-art facilities. We opened a brand new $70 million building last fall, 2021, that's got state-of-the-art simulation and high-tech, high-fidelity mannequins. We have a mannequin that delivers a baby. So some of you might be familiar with this, depending on where you're at, but very, very fortunate to be where we are and utilize those facilities to help train our future nurses. I don't know how relevant this will be. I decided to keep it on there, but again, I was sort of talking about some common substitutions there. You can kind of see the separate anatomy and physiology for the combined. What we typically take, the combined anatomy and phys part 1 and 2. Same thing there with the chemistry 230. If we have students that are, pre-med, or some of the pre-PA students are going way crazy doing the 5-semester sequence, we'll take some of those upper level chemistry. Same thing with the genetics there too. So maybe a little bit too detailed for this presentation today, but just wanted to put that on there. I would say my biggest advice would be, if you have students interested in pursuing a second degree in nursing, have them reach out to us. We are more than happy to talk with students even while they're at your institution, just to make sure that they are eligible and ready to apply. You're probably aware of this, the course transfer process is never easy. And so sometimes we find discrepancies in what's actually equivalent and what's not. So please, informally, they can reach out to us and make an appointment, and we can sort of talk through some things, suggest some courses if they're hoping to really use their time wisely and finish up their degree and start as soon as possible in second degree. But as far as the process, they would need to apply as a degree seeking transfer student, even though they're going to be second degree. It's kind of a weird thing because they'll be graduates, but that's our process. And then formally, they would come in for an advising and registration, a transfer advising and registration process, meet with an advisor one-on-one, sort of officially go through their transcript, and we would map out their courses. So I always say, hey, meet with us early before you find out, oh, bummer, I didn't have the right genetics class or micro or something like that. So we're happy to meet ahead of time. That was quick. What questions? Are there any in the chat? I do see a hand, Terry.
So this is all very exciting. I have to take off my Kelvin hat and say I'm a Grand Valley nursing grad. So woohoo!
Cool.
So I have a question, and I'm wondering if your program has explored it. So Kelvin has lots of international students, a lot of students that are interested in nursing, but we're finding hospitals really only sponsor work visas at the physician, sometimes APP level, which doesn't afford any nursing students or students that want to switch and do a program like this, maybe medical school dreams, or like you said, PA. Dreams fell short. So essentially what happens is they graduate with their nursing program degree. So they have their RN, they can pass their NCLEX, but then they're only afforded 1 year of OPT, and then there's not a sponsorship. So with the shortfall of nurses, has that been explored? Has that conversation come up with your partnership with Spectrum, as far as we've got lots of students that have the degree that want to work, but there doesn't seem to be a mechanism to allow them to work. So is that has that continued discussion at all?
Very much is, Terry. Gosh, top of mind for us recently. I've worked with several international students in that circumstance. And I've learned a whole lot about immigration policy, which I didn't expect to learn over the last 2 years. I do know there's someone at Spectrum Health, her name is Valerie, I believe, who reached out to me, and they are now starting to sponsor nurses. So we can connect afterwards and I can get you her contact information. Now there's, I believe, at any country except for India and China. And I guess the reason, I'm no expert, but the visa process and application, there's such a backlog or like huge number of applicants for number of visas that they give out, that they don't typically work with students from those 2 countries, which I know that because one of my students is affected by that. So anyway, is there ongoing discussion? Yes, and I failed to mention, we actually have another partnership with Pine Rest Mental Health Services in Grand Rapids, and they are doing a full scholarship for students, 4 students per cohort who want to work at Pine Rest. We have another student who is international, interested in doing that, but part of their requirement is that you need to work for them while you're in the program. And you probably know this, Terry, that international students cannot work off campus unless they have CPT, which we do not have CPT, which is curricular practical training. And so we're in the preliminary stages. We actually met with your dean at Calvin to talk more about your program. So long story short, I think there's some hope, but maybe we could connect after this and talk more about it.
And then I do have a secondary question. I'm just curious, with the landscape, I know clinical hours are a hot commodity. So how did you guys manage to increase your numbers and have clinical rotations for the increased numbers of students?
I would say it's a very much ongoing thing, Terry. Great question. I know that there's some very intentional conversations happening between Grand Valley and Spectrum Health. And with the clinical immersion, especially the last semester, the thought is for the 24 scholars that they would be placed at Spectrum Health to help them orient quicker into the unit that they want to work with. So it's sort of a thing where Spectrum has said, yeah, we're gonna offer you this, we're gonna create this program, sort of a pipeline, and we're gonna make good in finding the preceptors. So the first cohort of more students will start next semester. So I think it's, it's sort of a build up over time, if that makes sense. So, good questions.
Nothing in the chat, Mike, just,
Okay. Great. Well, we'll roll into, maybe there was.
oh, hold on.
Holly just popped in. Hi, Holly.
Right.
Hi, I have a couple questions. So for the first question, as long as students complete the prerequisite courses, are there any particular majors that are preferred, or, sociology versus biomedical science? As long as you have those prerequisites, you have a relatively equal shot.
Exactly. No preference at all. It's really based on the GPA in those 6 courses alone. Yeah.
Awesome. And I guess follow up to that, with healthcare experience, is that something that you're looking for on those applications? Or again, if it's, complete career change post-graduation, have the prerequisites still a good option, or do you want to see that healthcare experience?
Yeah, we always say healthcare experience is not required, but it certainly can help, right? So we usually advise students to try, if they're able to get experience, or I like to say exposure to nursing, through 3 things. One would be like a job shadow, very low level, right? 2 would be maybe a volunteer experience in a healthcare facility. And then if they want to, and they're interested, kind of a higher level would be a work experience, right? Like a nurse tech or CNA experience. But yeah, we admit people every semester who have no healthcare work experience. And probably, maybe potentially no shadowing or anything either, right? Especially with some of the secondary students, we love those cohorts because they're anywhere from 22 to 62 years old, right? And they have a wide range of experiences. So from teachers to social workers, et cetera. So hopefully that answers your question. So not required, but it certainly helps in the application.
Yeah, that is helpful. And then my second question, I know, with the third cohort and likely with increasing seat numbers, it's maybe not as competitive as it has been in the past. Do you anticipate the acceptance rates to change, and what are those at the moment?
Yeah, we don't publicize that, and it's a great question. Maybe by me saying we had to extend the application deadline, it hints at where we're currently at, which is sort of mind-boggling. Again, having been in the department for now 8 years. Typically we were getting about 100 applications a year for 48 spots. And now we're at 72 spots per year. And so I think we saw pretty, I'll call them favorable admission rates. And another hint would be that we are now, for the first time ever, recruiting students, right, to apply to the program. So how's that for an answer, Holly?
I'm picking up what you're throwing down.
Thank you. Awesome. Love it. I saw Terry's question too. So this is the second bachelor's degree. So not the RN to BSN program, Terry. This is our pre-licensure second degree nursing program. Great questions. So if anyone even whispers about nursing, I'll give you my email at the end and send them our way. We'd be glad to talk to them. So, okay, are we ready to shift to the graduate programs? Mike, we're doing good on time. Getting some thumbs up. Awesome. Mike and I gave each other some thumbs up on the golf course last night. What a funny coincidence that we literally played golf last night and we're on a presentation today. So, all right, let's talk about the graduate program. So we also have some exciting changes in our graduate programs. We just recently went through a curriculum revision to essentially bring our programs mostly, if not fully, online, like the master's degree. Obviously, the clinical is going to be in person, but let's sort of jump into it. So we used to offer an MSN that was sort of a generalist, prepared you to be what's called a clinical nurse leader, which we still have right here on that slide, but we've been calling it the MSN Choose Your Own Adventure, or MSN with specialization. And again, these programs, students would need to have their bachelor's degree already. So maybe I'll zip through this because, again, I don't know how many of you are working directly with students that are BSN, but yeah, the MSN, they get to choose from 4 different nursing specialties: leadership, informatics, hospice and palliative care, or clinical nurse leader. And yeah, the program, 5 semesters fully online. For the Doctor of Nursing Practice, we do have what's called a post-MSN program, and same options for specialization. What's maybe a little bit more familiar to all of you is the nurse practitioner track. And so we've added 3 brand new ones. One that's very commonly known, which is the FNP, the Family Nurse Practitioner track in the primary care setting. So that's brand new this year. We offer typically our programs in a primary care setting. We recognize we literally can see a building called Helen DeVos Children's Hospital that has, right, a bunch of nurse practitioners that work there. So we wanted to offer an acute care, which is in the hospital track for pediatric NPs. So we've got that. And then we're also offering, if you want to do an extra semester, a dual track. So you can get dual certified in acute and primary care pediatrics. So very, very cool stuff happening. And we're calling this a primarily online format. So all these terms in higher ed that are fun. Mostly online courses. So the first year is 100% online. In the second and third year, students will come to campus 2 to 3 times per semester for simulation work. And then the clinicals, of course, would be in person. Sort of talked about the MSN already with those 4 different points. Yeah, online, the time frame is, again, those 5 semesters, 33 or 36 credits. There's 405 clinical hours that are completed in the fall and winter of the second year as well. And we place students in the specialty that they pick up there at the top. And both the MSN, excuse me, and DNP applications are open now. For the fall 2023 is the next cohort. So this seems slightly redundant, but this is the full slate of programs, specialties that we offer. So again, for the nurse practitioner track, maybe I skipped this too. None of the nurse practitioner tracks we offer are offered at the master's level. They're offered at the doctorate level, so a practice doctorate. That's sort of the trend that nursing is moving, sort of like PT did a number of years ago. So we have the NP role as primary care FNP, like I talked about, family nurse practitioner. So we offer the primary care peds or the child adolescent, the dual track. We have an adult, older adult nurse practitioner. And then we just launched last year, a very much in demand, as probably all of you are aware, a psych mental health nurse practitioner track as well. And we actually have a post, it's confusing, post nurse practitioner psych NP certificate. So if you are already a nurse practitioner and you want to get a certificate, there's a 5 semester sequence to become a certified psych NP. This program is a little more hefty, 8 semesters. It goes year round, and it's a 3-year program. There are up from 750, a recent change at our accrediting body, up to 1,000 clinical hours for students entering with the BSN and the customized plan if you already have your MSN. And again, that primarily online format, which is very nice and convenient because the program is designed for nurses that are working, probably not full-time as they enter grad school unless they're on sort of a part-time plan, but with the fully online format in the first year, it does allow the flexibility for nurses to work 2 or 3 shifts per week. I guess that's sort of it. This is our contact information, and we're the Office of Student Services officially in the Kirchhoff College of Nursing. That's our contact information. We do have a pretty good social media, so if you want to, jot that down, follow us on some of those, or pass that along to your students, feel free to do so. Maybe I'll back up just to this slide here and open it up for questions on the graduate programs, if there are any. Great question, Terry. Any plans for a PhD? I don't believe so. Yeah, I think there's sort of some declining enrollment, unfortunately, in PhD programs. But yeah, nothing on the horizon. So we do not offer any PhDs at GV. It's only the practice doctorates. We have several. They're all in nursing or the College of Health Professions. So we'll stop sharing so we can see everybody here. Yeah, I guess we'll open it up. General, any questions about anything that we've covered today? All right, Mike.
All right, well, as far as housekeeping goes, the next session back in the main Zoom link, so you'll have to go back into the main Zoom link, starts at 11:45. That's where we're gonna do a little bit of housekeeping business before we jump into lunch and the roundtable discussion. So, yep, Mike just dropped his contact information into the chat, so feel free to send him any students who might be interested in second-degree nursing, graduate program in nursing. Sounds like there are lots of opportunities available. So thanks, Mike, for taking the time to speak with us this morning. And yeah, we'll hang out for a couple minutes. If anybody has any questions, let us know. But yeah, awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks for being here.